The current ratio and quick assets ratio are general indicators of how well working capital is generated. Such ratios should be tracked over many quarters to see how a trend is developing. Going beyond these initial tests, you need to also determine how effectively management is using its cash with two specific ratio tests. As explained in the previous lecture, testing overall current assets may not reveal all you need to know because inventory or accounts receivable levels can be allowed to climb too high. Testing these is an important attribute of working capital analysis. This lecture presents an explanation of how to test accounts receivable, and a useful inventory ratio test is covered later in the lectures. To test accounts receivable as one component of working capital, you need to decide how effectively the company is collecting its outstanding balances. If the balances are being allowed to remain outstanding for too long, then the trend is negative. A basic way to track this is to age the current accounts receivable balances. To age the account, each company owing money is listed on a worksheet and then shown based on how many days the balance has been outstanding. Those between 0 and 30 days are current. Those between 31 and 60 days are later but not yet past due. Any accounts over 61 days are past due, and those over 91 days are seriously past due. Account managers know that the longer accounts remain unpaid, the less likely it becomes that they will ever receive payment. Even accounts that are eventually collected adversely affect cash flow because of the length of time required to make collections. The aging list, like this one here, can be set up. The aging list helps to define the time required to make collections, especially when the list is divided into percentages. When the time required is growing, a company can take action to curtail the problem by immediately cutting off credit to any company more than 60 days past due, improving the initial screening process for customers requesting credit, including a review of credit reports for new customers, accelerating contact policies starting with direct telephone calls to ask for payments, imposing credit limitations for high volume customers, especially those that are slow to make payments. These measures will prevent the problem from worsening and may even prevent future bad debts. However, the overall credit and collection situations can be distorted by only a few high volume customers. In periods when sales volume is rising quickly, the relationship between the granting of credit and collections tends to change as well. One way to maintain control over the problem of working capital during an expanding market period is to track the days sales outstanding. The related ratio tracks sales on a full year moving basis, continually updating the full 12 months sales total, and then comparing that average to the changing balances of accounts receivable. To calculate, first determine the revenue total for the past full year, restricting his total to sales made on account, excluding cash paid at the time of the sale. Doing this requires maintaining a running tally. Each day's new credit-based sales are calculated by adding the latest day and dropping the oldest day. To make this calculation easier, you can track sales on a 52-week or 12-month basis. In this alternative, add the latest week's or month sales to the running total and subtract the oldest. Either way, you continually end up with the full year's updated revenue total. Then apply this information in the formula. Accounts receivable balance divided by the 1 year's sales on credit divided by the day sales outstanding. And here is an example. Your company sales on credit for the past full year have been $9,400,000. The current balance of accounts receivable is $1,050,000. Calculate the days sales outstanding. Let's see this example on a spreadsheet. On a spreadsheet, enter the value of accounts receivable balance and the last year's sales on credit. And here is the formula. accounts receivable balance divided by 1 year sales on credit divided by 365, and we receive almost 41 days. This calculation reveals that the average account remains outstanding for almost 41 days. Given that some receivables are paid very fast and some remain outstanding for a long time, this outcome is not surprising. As a yardstick of how effectively outstanding bills are being managed, you would hope to see this number fall as steps are taken to speed up collections. When the number begins to rise, notably during periods of revenue expansion, it is a warning sign that working capital is not being managed well.